This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good afternoon everyone. We continue in Parak Asiri, the 10th parak of the Devorah. Now, if you remember, the Devorah said in Parak Beis that a person needs to accustom themselves with the appropriate conduct depending on that time of the year. In other words, a person needs to accord themselves at a certain time of the year or a certain time of the day with the Sefira which is dominant at that time. For instance, the Devorah brought that on Shabbos or Yom Kippur, which are Zmanei Rachamim, it is prohibited for a person to arouse themselves in anger, which is din and simtsum. And therefore in this parak, the Devorah will continue to go through various times and explain which Sefira is most dominant at that time, and this way a person knows the proper way to accord themselves with. Okay, so let us begin. Perush Rabbi Shimon beParshas Bereishis. The Devorah in the final chapter says that Rabbi Shimon in this week's Parsha explains Eitzah Rabbah, a great counsel, Gedoyla, Min HaTorah, Hech Yiskasher Ha'adam B'Kedusha Ha'Alyona, how a person could tie themselves in the supernal sanctity, v'yisnayigba, and conduct himself, val yiparid min asros ha'yonos tadar, this way he will not separate himself from the upper spheres. So the Zohar HaKadosh gives us a basic outline, how do we go about our day in order to always be connected with the appropriate sefira. Now, the American lifestyle doesn't usually allow a person to follow the schedule, because this recommendation of the Zohar basically says early to bed and even earlier to rise. In other words, you're already sleeping, or actually you're up by midnight. Midnight you're up already for the night. So I see some people who are early risers, like, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm not on that madrega yet, but on the other hand, I'm still up on the time that a person's supposed to be getting up. And the Zohar says like this, it's Daf Yud Aleph in the Zohar, come and see a great Eitzah. When a person goes to sleep at night, they need to kabel on themselves Malchus Shamayim B'Leiv Shalem before they give over their souls as a pikadon, and this way a person is saved from all evils and all difficulties from dominating him. So in the morning when you get up from your bed, you need to make a bracha. And when you come to the Beis HaKnesses, that means when you wake up in the morning you make Birchas HaTorah. And when you come to the shul, you bow down biyira, and then you're mispalel, and you sort of take permission from the Avos HaKadoshim. Now, based on this, the Devorah has somewhat of a discourse on the proper way to go about one's day, and in terms of knowing what sefira is dominant, and this way one is able to accord themselves with the proper sefira. A person has to accustom themselves in accordance with the time. To know which sefira is dominant, to tie oneself with it. And to do the proper rectification that is connected to the dominant midah. So let us begin. The Zohar starts with the evening. When a person goes to sleep. The dominant sefira then, or the dominant force then, is night. What is dominant in the nighttime is the midah called night, which is basically midas hamalchus. Maybe the reason why it's called Malchus is the moon, and the moon comes out at night. Maybe when you go to sleep, hashena hi kein misa. Death is analogous to sleep is the 60th of death. V'ilana demaisa shota, and the tree of death is dominant then. Mayasa, what should you do? Yisakein, you should fix v'yakdim, and you should advance l'hiskasher, to tie yourself besoid hakedusha, in the secret of kedusha. Dahainu soid midas hamalchus. That is the secret of the midah of Malchus bebechinas kedushasa, on the level of the kedusha. In other words, corresponding to the ra of the night is the midah of Malchus, which is the bechina of kedusha of the night. So you're mekabel on yourself Malchus Shamayim. V'lazeh yelech al mitase. This is how you should go to sleep. V'yikabel o Malchus Shamayim shlema b'kavanas halev, and you should accept the yoke of heaven wholeheartedly with your full heart. Now, the Hakdamas Susharim brings the night is the midah of Malchus, like the Zohar says in Parshas Bereshis. Memshelas hayom dechura, the day is a time of zachar. That's what yom is zachar. Nekeva, laila is nekeva. So it's the Shechina, Malchus. It's just like the zachar is mashpia to the nekeva, and the nekeva is lesle migamrei klum. So too, the daytime, the shemesh is meira b'yom. That refers to the hashpa of the zachar, and the laila is the yoreach. That's the midah of Malchus. So actually, we were correct that the reason why laila is Malchus is because it's the time of the yoreach, which we said lesle migamrei klum. So a person was created b'dugma elyoina, where part of the neshama is mistalik at the time of the night, and it's not meir. The same way, the midah of Tiferet, so to speak, is mistalik in the nighttime, and Malchus is dominant. So too in the neshama, the chelek of the neshama is mistalik, and is not meir. As the Darach Hashem writes, the way God arranged the world, the nighttime is the shlita of the koiches hatuma, and people gather in and they go to sleep. And during the daytime is when the forces of Kedusha are more dominant. Now the Gemara says in Brachas and Daf Nun Zayin Amud Beis, sleep is 1/60th of death. And that's what we find in the Zohar. There's no one who goes to sleep at night that is not Toyem Tam Misa. That is why David HaMelech, who's Chai V'Kayam, who is trying to be the antidote to Adam HaRishon, who brought death to the world, Adam HaRishon, David HaMelech didn't really sleep. So he says that the Ilana de Misa is Shoyleit. That comes from the Zohar and Parshas Bamidbar. The Hakdamas of Sharon brings, come and see that when the night comes, Ilana de Moisa Shalet Ba'alma. And the Ilana de Chaye goes upstairs. However, Kriya Shema is the skula to be saved from the mazikim. Like the Gemara says in Brachas, Rabbi Yitzchak kol hakori Kriya Shema al mitasoi. It's like he took a sword of two edges. And Rashi says to kill the mazikim. And the Gemara continues, Kol hakori Kriya Shema al mitasoi mazikim betela mimenu shenemar ubnei reshef yagbiu uf. Okay, Rabbi, I will hold it over here and wish everybody a good Shabbos.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.